All right.
Hey, we are live.
We are live. We are live. You are. You're the floating head today. Look. Head and neck.
It's so funny. As soon as I got into the StreamYard thing, I just see Mitch go first. So, Mitch, yep, you were first. Congratulations. You win the prize.
Mitch.
I don't know
was
what prize is.
first. Look at that, Mitch. Mitch is loyal. Jose
He's awesome.
V. Stuart Little.
Hey, Jose.
Yeah.
That's fun to say.
All your disciples, your dogs, all the people. We got Job 2 Freedom here.
Soon John Moran pancreas is going to show up. It's going to get weird.
Well, we can show pictures of your pancreas later.
Hey!
I saw that just the other day.
Yeah. Oh man. So I went through a midlife crisis that I'm still in last year. And so I did a Pronovo scan and scanned my entire body with an MRI for everyone out there wondering what I was talking about.
Pronovo. Yes.
Yeah. Paid $2,500, got the whole body scan, literally an MRI for an hour. They did every single test on me. And it's like, hey, I have like a small cyst right here, like on the kidney, but it's benign, that kind of stuff. Like, cool. So it's like really, really cool. If you haven't checked it out, and if you ever wanted to just get a snapshot of how your health is and like the total ecosystem of your body, I highly recommend it. I had a blast during it.
That's tremendous. Did they find the part of your brain that activates Google ads was larger than the normal human? Was that part of it?
They found a little colorful G logo right in there.
It was in there. It was a smaller meta logo. It was getting larger though. That tumor was growing.
They removed the TikTok one because that's getting banned. So they
oh my God, crazy stuff. Well, welcome to Tier 11 Live on Friday. It's good to be back. It feels like I haven't talked to you in forever.
I know. It feels like I'm having withdrawals. So I'm like waking up in the middle of the night. I'm like, hey, people. I'm like, oh, no one's there.
Yeah, no one's there. You even did one on your own, which when I was like flying, I don't know what I was doing. I think I was flying actually that day. No, I was on the runway and you were trying to get in.
I'm just messaging everyone. I'm like, emergency. I can't log in.
Like literally I'm taxing and the stewardess just kept going by, just like, you need to shut that laptop now. I'm like, well, John Moran needs me, and I was like, I hope it got through. Let's go. So anything for you, the Tier 11 Live watcher, viewer, listener, we'll do it here. Even almost getting kicked off a DC-10 that day, which would have been very bad because that was the last flight out of San Francisco. Today, we're pretty excited about this one. We talked about this yesterday. We were doing an internal training call. I'm like, we got to do that tomorrow on the live.
Yeah.
It was so cool because well, I'm not gonna spoil your thunder. What is that expression? Steal your thunder.
Yeah.
How do you steal thunder?
I don't know.
Sure. I don't know. I'm not going to steal your thunder because I just want you to get into it. But this involves Amazon and spending less and making more, right?
Yep. So there's been a topic that is kind of like, it's almost like when Facebook ads kind of first came out, and it was like, all right, this is really cool and sexy, and it works really well, and everything's like, started to grow, but people are still not kind of, fully up to speed on like the fakeness of certain areas or the pitfalls. Like, remember Facebook lead ads when it first came out? It's like, you want 1,700 pieces of spam immediately for 18 cents.
Look at all these leads.
Right. Wow. Everyone's like, wow, leads. Right. So there's really not been that much investigation into Amazon from just the general ecosystem, just a general industry, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
The people that are usually in charge of Amazon are kind of like siloed, and they're definitely in their own realm because it's a full channel and it's complicated. And what the hell is ACOS and it's an ASIN and blah, blah, blah. I've been deep diving into Amazon for like the last year, and I've always actually found more of a correlation between your Facebook spend and YouTube spend and Amazon sales than Amazon spend and Amazon sales. And it's always been, you can actually reduce spend on Amazon and increase spend on Facebook, and Amazon's revenue goes up. So we had a case study, and I actually exported the data suite data for a little bit more of an easier visual for everyone to watch. But in the global task of decreasing NCAC and increasing MER at scale, it's always important to check each individual channel for in terms of contribution rather than attribution, and then test it by making big, bold changes. So because otherwise it just gets lost in the ebb and flow of heartbeat that is, digital marketing. We have a good week, bad week, good week, bad week, but collectively overall last month we did better than the month before. So it's always lost in the shadows, I guess I would say, your small changes. So you have to be big, you have to be bold, you have to make really dangerous decisions quickly and then measure fast and appropriately. So I have a case study as to one of the companies that we are growing and scaling, and the actual kind of results of what we saw across the entire time. So
let me just stop you there for 1 second before you get into it. You said something that was really important there. So this is my job, is to interpret John and to do the translation. But you said something which we kind of stumbled on, and you said it in passing yesterday. And I want to bring it up to our audience here today. It's contribution, not attribution. Explain that to us, because it's like everyone's so focused on attribution, but really they all work together. It's contribution at the end of the day. How do you figure that out? Well, you figure that out through what we're going to be talking here today. Obviously, Tier 11 Data Suite is a solution. However, just explain that concept to people, because I think it's an important one to understand.
Absolutely. So there is a massive amount of brand trust to Amazon. People are loyal to Amazon. If you're a Prime user right now, if you watching this here, if you are a Prime user, you are loyal to Amazon.
Sure.
This is how it goes. You've signed up for a subscription. Now, you're not necessarily loyal to all the products that you buy, but you're loyal to Amazon as to which you buy those products from. So if you said, hey, I want a pair of Nikes, do you go to Amazon or do you go to Nike? Most people are just kind of jumping to Amazon first. It becomes kind of like a secondary shopping cart to your business.
Check it out on Nike, see what the price is over on Amazon.
So let's role play. How long does Nike take to ship from their shipping department after you place an order?
Oh, Jesus.
Definitively.
I would say, I think it's like 4 to 6 weeks. Is it that long?
For Nike, you just order shoes on our website?
On their, it's been a while since I've ordered on Nike, because I order everything on Amazon.
Well, here, let's just say this. Can you guarantee that it goes out tomorrow?
No.
Okay. When does it arrive?
I would say within 2 weeks. I would say probably.
Yeah. So we know it doesn't go out same day or tomorrow.
It's not like Temu. It's like 4 weeks.
Right.
4 to 6 weeks.
Put that down a ship. From China.
They manufacture it as soon as you order it, and then they ship it over. It could be a couple of months, whatever.
Yeah. In case there's an iceberg, then it's a year. So it goes by the way of the Titanic. So right now it's like, okay, if I order from Nike, when does it ship? Don't know. When does it arrive? Don't know. How do I return? Don't know. Does it restocking fee? Don't know. You don't know of anything. Amazon's like, it'll get there tomorrow, and you can one click, and I'll even give you the money back before I even come and pick it up off your doorstep. Cool. That's where people are loyal. They're the Walmart of the internet. Walmart did the distribution first. So people are loyal to Amazon. Now, what that does, though, when you're looking at omni-channel attribution, is what is Amazon attributing as sales and versus what is Amazon contributing to for sales. And that's the difference. Is it simply the place that people go to buy the product you already spent money educating the person on? Or do people go to Amazon one day and say, I don't know, shoes? Not really. It's not really, that has no connection to your paid media platforms. So what we looked at when we exported all of our information out of Data Suite into this nice big visual graph with everything here, what we noticed is our spend levels since we started using Data Suite, and I'll just do the first 4 weeks. Let's just do it on average. The first 4 weeks, we spent an average of $48,000 per week. So $48,000 per week. Okay. Yep. Last 4 weeks, we spent an average of $111,000. So more than a 2x increase in our average weekly spend. Now, when we look at our Amazon spend, went from $3,600 each week on average to $3,800 on Amazon spend each week. So $200 increase in Amazon spend, $200. Now, what our revenue on Amazon went from an average of $47,000 per week to an average of $75,000 per week. So a $200 per week increase on average somehow gained a $35,000 increase in revenue on average. What is that ROAS? Infinite, really. It's like spend $200, get 35 more grand. You're a normal kind of person looking at ROI figures says, wow, scale.
I would
scale
say
Amazon.
Your Amazon agency is brilliant.
Whoa. So it'd be really stupid if we just paused Amazon, right? And go from $3,500 and $4,500 in spend to $400 because it ran half a day for this week of December 29th. So even after Black Friday, after Cyber Monday, week after, basically going into January, and wouldn't you know it, that our $3,600 and $4,400 weekly spend going down to $400 made us $2,000 more. Somehow it went from 74 to 76. Our ad spend cut 90% and our revenue increased by 2. Well, that can't be right because MER was probably hurt, right? Well, if we were wrong, the MER would be reduced. Went from 158 to 160. Well, what about subscribers? MER, less subscribers are going to pay you anyway. 126 to 127. All right. Well, what about cost per acquired first-time customer? Well, 166 to 160 went down. There's literally no downside to anything that we've done in terms of top line, NCAC, media efficiency ratio, no subscribers, our subscription service. I mean, that is, I mean, it's probably, damn, like that is the most solid line I've ever seen of our new subscribers. That didn't get hurt. It didn't go up or down. So we can kind of use our process of elimination by saying, do we actually think that Amazon spend was actually doing anything? No. So it's attributing, not contributing. It's just very, very, very simple. It is a secondary shopping cart to people's websites. Now, you're never going to send traffic directly to Amazon and say, man, I hope you learn there. But when you land on Amazon, when you're more closer to the buying decision, you're pushed over the edge by, it's free. I'll get it tomorrow. I know there's one-click returns and there's 4,000 5-star reviews.
Yep.
Buy now. So that is always where it is going to be the attributing versus contributing. That is the difference of those factors. And that is always what you have to look at in every single channel, even Amazon, which maybe people on here have said, you know what, I never actually thought about that. You can see search terms in Amazon. You can see what people are searching for when they buy your products through Amazon ads. You can see the ASIN. You can see the search terms. Mm-hmm. You can see if it's a product search, a brand search, or a cold search. That's absolutely there. All of this data is readily available right inside the platform. People don't really look at it. People just kind of brush it off as to, okay, Amazon's kind of a cool little black box. And I don't know, but that agency's delivered me amazing results. Like we didn't even increase our ad spend and they went up 35 grand a week. They're pretty good. Mm-hmm. No. And that's what we always have to look at is our global metrics, our MPIs, data suite to show that we have been increasing every single platform except for we've been increasing only on Meta and not every other platform, only on Meta. And the only thing really getting better is Meta and Amazon. Mm-hmm. That is a correlated data. That is causation and correlation both in one.
So the devil's advocate here. This is obviously, you still have $400 spend, which is on what types of terms? I have to assume it's brand terms.
Yeah. So there was actually really close brand names. So this brand does kind of describe what it is. It is an immune defense for dogs. The first word is critical. So you don't see a lot of critical, but you do see a lot of the company's other brand that is in store. So people go to Amazon and buy it because this brand is also in Target. It's also in Walmart. It's also on Chewies.com. It's on their website. So this already has some grassroots branded searches that people are going to do, even if they didn't see an ad on Facebook, they're still going to go to Amazon and see if they can get it off of Amazon, even on a subscription, because it's something that they normally buy, whether in person or they bought it before online.
So same brand sold by two different companies. Obviously, one of the companies that works with us, but then the other company. So you are getting some bleed over on Amazon, probably most likely, no matter what, just because of just the way that it is.
Yeah, and it's actually what's interesting is there is two different brand names. So it's technically there's like VetSmart and Pitfalls Direct. They're the same company, but that product's been under both those brands. So So you see searches on both those brands because they were on one brand, changed over to the other brand, but there's still people from 2 or 3 years ago that are still trying to search for it. So that's what's really crazy is we can see that the increases on Meta contributed to an increase on Amazon, but this is just identical to Google brand. If you do more grassroots marketing, more omni-channel marketing, and more prospecting and push, your brand campaign is going to continuously look better and better and better and better for no additional ad spend. It's like that one case study where I had $50 and made $173,000 on Black Friday. I didn't even need to spend the $50. I just had it show up at least once.
Right. Right. So on this one, I assume like the Google branded search obviously is benefiting from that lift as well. I mean, you got to figure, all right, people are then, Google searching that brand. Can we can we look into Data Suite and sort of see the correlation? I'm not sure if these guys have the Amazon integration. They don't as of yet.
Not right now. No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why we had to do this kind of manually.
Okay.
Because we track them separately, but then when we combine them, we're like, wait a minute. Like you can kind of see right there, there's actually no lift. For fun, actually, let me pull this up real quick. Hold on. Because let me do this here. That is actually a fairly interesting point that I have not covered. Let's do this here. So
which part?
Oh, this, yeah, no, we said brand.
Yeah, brand.
So during the same time period, if we just take all the December compared to the time period before of end of October and all of November, so it's basically December 1st yesterday compared to previous period. Yep. Our spend on brand is actually down $1,200. So we spent $6,100. And then we reduced it 20% down to $4,883. So we took back $1,260 in spend. And our conversion value went up 55%, went from 14 to 21. So we reduced spend on brand and still got 55% more increase. That sounds really close to the increase between a Amazon revenue of 42,000 and an Amazon revenue of 80,000. What's 50% of 40,000? Well, sorry, 75,000. So this is about an 80% increase on Amazon. Yeah. So the global lift, we saw 80% more buyers on Amazon than we did of people actually Googling the brand name and buying there. We have more redirected traffic from ourselves after prospecting to Amazon than we do to our own website, Googling our own brand name.
Unbelievable. But you are seeing a lift on, but you are seeing a lift on brand though. I mean,
absolutely seeing a lift on brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rate of lift on brand is half of the rate of lift on Amazon.
Got it. Makes sense. So like that can, obviously you're doing that same thing. You're reducing spend over on Amazon to increase overall MER, but the same could be said on the branded campaigns on Google potentially as well. Because I mean, they both have sort of the same effect. They're going to buy it no matter what, because you got them aware of it over on the Meta platform.
Right. And that's why what's funny about this too is if we look here, this is what I love about Data Suite 2. If we go into Funnel Vision here, let me pause cameras. This is going to take a second.
Our beloved Data Suite. For those of you tuning in just for that, I think we have Romina here just specifically for Data Suite.
Oh yeah, I'm supposed to sing Data Suite, where the data is so sweet. There we go. Now it's going to count because I can't sing. All right.
You didn't know that John Moran could sing. So, ladies and gentlemen, John Moran's voice box is going to be one of the new people that are going to come on live.
You didn't think that John Moran could sing, and now you know John Moran can't sing.
And we've got MRI proof that you have a voice box, or was this a CT scan? Sorry,
yeah, something. Scan. Potato. I don't know.
So we are inside Tier 11 Data Suite right now. We're looking at all the different platforms, clean, beautiful data. Very little on the other side of the equation. Look at that. Look at how few other visits there are way on the bottom. That's the best column for me. The unattributeds, unknowns, others, direct. It's like it's almost completely eliminated here. So, which is fabulous.
Like other is 33, and this is just from the point where we can't tell where these people came from before tracking started.
Yeah,
and that's okay. So here's what's cool: the cost on Meta went up, cost on Google went down. The clicks on Meta went up. This is actually a lot of video. That's why also the clicks didn't follow. This right here, the clicks though on Google went down. Spent less, got more. Okay.
Spent less.
New revenue also went up. That's interesting.
Like that.
Now, returning revenue went down. That's okay. We don't have any control over that. But the spend decreasing. New visits went down 40%, and now we're down to a blistering 2.3% cold traffic inside of the Google Ads ecosystem. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
When you see that much warm traffic at 97.7% cold or warm, 97.7% warm means that I move here, we get there.
Yeah.
And those are all the correlating factors. Same exact thing is happening on Amazon, only worse. Amazon's rocketing to the moon. We keep hitting record weeks every week on Amazon because we're scaling Meta.
Yeah. So just to bottom line this, we have 2 other customers that have Amazon integrated in. This is a beta for Wicked Reports, which we pushed and pushed and pushed for, by the way, as partial owners in the company. The point is, it's like, once this client, have we even said their name? We'll just say PWD just to keep
that works.
Keep it cool with everyone. The point is that once you have Amazon, you'll be able to see Amazon as a line inside Data Suite, which is even more beautiful because you don't have to create your own spreadsheets to figure all that stuff out. Like that's the big breakthrough. And you can get breakdowns by each individual channel, and you can see exactly what you're talking about. You do it in a spreadsheet here, but you can.
Well, it's just because I had to add
there.
up Amazon, because we didn't have Amazon integrated with the Wicked interface, right.
But it's coming. I mean, that is very exciting because the idea of like spending less and making more, like is that the goal of everyone, like in life? When it comes to business.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. There's always that like spend less and make more. Then also like what people usually have that problem is, okay, how do we just experience exponential scale, like exponential growth? Right. For everyone out there that's also been trying the feeder strategy, I have a good proof that actually started on the 29th of last month. I wanted to share this as a quick case study for everyone too. So everyone out there, this is going to be kind of important. Everyone out there has heard of the term ad fatigue. Mm-hmm. Facebook coins ad fatigue. Right. And we've been discovering with feeder strategy that there really isn't such thing as ad fatigue. It's not ad fatigue. It's audience fatigue. And this is something I want everyone to kind of stop and pause and really reflect on, because when you remove data and you kind of put yourself back, let's say 200 years ago, into just a normal person's brain that hasn't changed in 200 years, there's never been a point in time where someone walks by like an ad on the wall and be like, wow, that's a cool ad. And then they see it like one more time 10 days later and they're like, I hate that ad so much. There's never been that time where it's like a group of people walk by that really like it. And then the more people that walk by, everyone just hates it. That's ad fatigue. That doesn't exist. That's not a thing. If it's a good ad, it's a good ad, but it's audience fatigue. It's because the same 10 people keep walking by that same ad and now they just don't engage with it. So it's really funny. It's tricked an entire industry by saying, oh, that ad's fatigue. No, the ad has not fatigued. Audience did. Watch this. When you look at what we did with feeder strategy here on the 29th, what we can see is that this campaign has had the same cost. This campaign has had the same cost. But then we added an L0 Reels here, which actually started to drive a whole bunch more clicks, 1.9 million% more clicks, because it had like one that went to 19,000. But we end up spending, we spent 20 G's. Yeah. Now, what's funny about this is when you look at the NCAC is horrible, 542. But then you start to see these things going down by like 9.7% and going down by 2.3%. Mm-hmm. So what ends up happening is these ads here, these two have not actually changed. If we look at this ad here, actually, you know what? Let's do this for fun. I'm going to pull up the actual ad because I have a pretty unique little use case that we have an ad named Paul. Paul is one of our ads in this account. And the ad of Paul has not fatigued, and we spent a lot of money on it. So watch this. We call them gluttonous hero because they're sticky. Here's Paul. This is Paul again, number copy. If we look, I don't know, since like November 1st, as I forget when we started this one campaign, Paul has had $232,000 of ads on Paul, or $232,000 amount spent. Paul is not a fantastic, amazing, next best thing ad. It's a dog asleep on a couch. Whoa, what's the ad fatigue of that? You screw yourself. There is no such thing as ad fatigue. It's a dog on a couch. It's not even a great ad, but it doesn't stop because we keep feeding it. And that little ad of Paul, when you view charts, there's the new customers, and this is the money that was spent on it. That's not going to fatigue, because as soon as it starts to fatigue, we start adding in more traffic, And what ends up happening is we didn't scale one, we didn't scale the other one, we just added reels. What ended up happening? 14% increase in spend, 26% increase in sales, 25% increases in customers, and our NCAC actually dropped another $3. So once it started to plateau, we just fed it more people. Why? Because it's not audience fatigue, or it's not ad fatigue, it's audience fatigue. We need more people. We need to feed it. So you measure that new ad and that new video has a shitty NCAC. That's okay. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to get eyeballs, supposed to get users, so that my conversion campaigns don't fatigue with their audience. They can now get fresh new eyes. And guess what, Paul? Still works. We're probably going to spend $1 million on that one little sleepy dog ad. Yeah. It's not, it doesn't have to be amazing creative. It just has to be creative that works with that audience. And then you are just feeding it more and more and more users. You don't have to say, oh, that one burnt. Why did it burn? I don't know. People woke up one day and said, I changed my mind. Collectively, everyone happened on Tuesday. No, that's not a thing. It's not possible. So it's really important when we're looking at all of our omni-channel. And then again, as we start adding more users, we see more conversions inside the conversion campaigns. We see more conversions inside conversion campaigns. Guess what happens to Amazon?
It increases.
More users.
Magically.
Exactly.
Yes. So really, when it comes back down to it, I mean, the term ad fatigue, which as long as I've been in digital marketing, that has been a thing, or just advertising just in general, really is caused by audience fatigue at the end of the day. And I mean that we used to call it ad blindness or banner blindness back in the day when I would buy, banner ads from actual websites and call them up and like buy their inventory. Like, hey, you rank for this keyword. I wouldn't tell them. I'll buy
the CPM for that one.
Yeah, I would just like that's literally how I started as an affiliate. I would go and find the terms that I wanted to rank for. You go to all the organic listings, all those top websites, and I would call them and buy ad space above the fold. And that's how I became a super affiliate, believe it or not.
Did you have a rotary phone back then?
I did, actually. No, it was one of those ones you pick up and you tap the thing and you call an operator.
Yeah. Operator, get me Nike.
With this thing and then the thing that you pick up. Anyway, the point is that is actually the cause. That's the cause of it. And I think the ad networks, if you really think about this, we talked about this yesterday on our training call. It's like they want to put your ad in front of people who are most likely to buy.
Yes.
As many times as possible until they actually wear them out and then they buy. And at that point, that's when your CPAs, that's when your NCACs start to increase over time. And that's why this strategy is so vital, because it goes out and it finds new audiences with the same ads. Those ads aren't fatigued. The audience themselves are fatigued because the platforms circle the wagon around the warmest traffic, the easiest traffic, whether it's PMAX, whether it's Meta, any campaign, any conversion campaign. That's what they do.
Well, it also gets worse because what Meta has baked in the fact that when you launch a new campaign, it pushes it to warm traffic first. It does that. It does that to reward you with, hey, this ad's working. It does it to reward their users with, hey,
sugar high.
Exactly. There's a different ad about a product you like. Here's the next best thing about this thing that you're semi-interested in. So it makes sense because it rewards, Meta. You believe you're being rewarded because you're, maybe a more novice advertiser and you measure by in-app ROAS. So you're like, wow, look at this. This looks great. Like everything is predefined to bake in to help Meta and their user base. But the advertisers here, the people on this call, all get the short end of the stick. So this was a new product that we launched, AP here. So this is a new product that was launched called AP. And when we look inside of, if we're not using obviously Data Suite, we'd have to do nothing but purchases. So we'd have to have website purchases. And the website purchases are like, hey, good job. We end up getting 9 for you. AP cost cap manual. I don't know what I did there. Hold on. There we go. Yeah. Look, we got 9 purchases for you. Good. Spent $790, got 9 sales. All right, not bad. And that's your AP L1 manual cost cap. And then because we're using the Data Suite and we are importing, it's like, wait a minute, there's 9 purchases in one new customer on a new product that we literally launched 3 days ago. Yeah. What the hell? And so we look inside of our Wicked, our AP L1 manual cost cap. We can see it's 13.5% cold traffic on a brand new product, on a brand new campaign, on a brand new audience with everybody excluded. 180 days of website visitors, 180 days of purchasers, people who have been engaging with our Facebook and Meta and Instagram posts and ads. Everybody's excluded. This one said, nope, here's 85% or warm traffic. So then when we look inside of here, we're like, what the hell's going on? We actually spent $800 and we got one new customer. The other 4 are view through engagements. So we got view through conversions on a brand new product, on a brand new audience in the first 2 days. Actually, it all happened in one day. So you know what we had to do? We paused it. You can see it's actually shut off. That's why we paused all of our APs here. We then had to go into Meta, create a brand new account so that it wouldn't have any of the issues. And now our $800 NCAC is down day 1 yesterday, which we just launched it back down now here again to $294. That's more than 100% less. It's or 50% less. Like it's starting to reduce pretty quickly. I don't even check today. What's just more curious. What did today do? I haven't got anything yet today we can see. But that's what's really interesting is this warm traffic is so ridiculous that you launch a new campaign. Meta's like, here's your 9 sales. No, one was real and 85% warm traffic. How are you supposed to grow a new product inside the Meta ecosystem where they're like, oh, is that a new ad? Here's 700 people that you had yesterday.
For those of the listeners and watchers here, which we are going to get to your questions here in just a moment, but if you don't have Tier 11 Data Suite, which allows you or affords you the opportunity to be able to see things on a global basis, would you recommend, I think we actually had this conversation like a DM somewhere in Slack, would you recommend setting your attribution window as far as what you're seeing inside Ads Manager and Meta to 1 day click only and no view through, just to make it like your true, like, as you say, accrual accounting method, because that's the harshest way in which to really look at things. And then you might be able to get a better idea as to what the platform is actually doing. Or does that even matter?
So we noticed that in the first 3 days, even before we got a click, or even before we got a purchase, it was hitting warm traffic day 1. So I don't know what setting would cause, Meta to push off into, different traffic, because what it would be counting as a conversion, it was counting, it all happened in 1 day. Like that was what was insane. Like we launched literally like the next day, all the clicks and all of the returning sales on all the existing customers happened in 1 day. So we had to shut it down on day 4 because day 3 blew up. Day 1 and 2 was like flatline. So that was what was interesting, is that you could, yes, but the flip side of that coin is, if you don't have Data Suite and you're looking at in-app attribution, you have to have a benchmark of a 1 day click accrual that is so high. And then hopefully after a week, a month, a quarter, that actually, when you're scaling that, is actually having a good effect on your top line. I don't know. The ad spend is way more expensive than just paying for a tool, I can tell you.
It's too cumbersome to measure it that way. But no, it's an interesting way of looking at it. But at the very least, I mean, it's, what do you recommend for people that don't have Data Suite in this particular case? Like, what's the best way of figuring out how to allocate your ad spend? Or is it just looking at your source of truth and that's pretty much it? Like comparing to your Shopify store versus what you're spending on Meta, Google, etc. Like, what was the method that we used before we actually had this tool?
Well, it was, what's funny is I've been using a third-party attribution tool for the last 3 years. Almost 4 years now. And so I don't know of a way to do this without that. That's why I've invested in multiple third-party attribution tools. I don't need them to be 100% accurate. I just need them to do a lot of the pre-filtering that I know the individual channels will never even go near. And GA4 kind of sometimes maybe looks a little good, but even that's a dumpster fire. I actually posted today in our leadership a Wicked versus GA4 for 15 months in a thread. And the thread is actually, it's pretty interesting. I'll actually share screen on this thread because this is something that I think is pretty important to see. And GA4, yes, they do have data-driven attribution. Here's what's funny is this is Wicked versus GA4 after 15 months. This is actually called Wicked because before it was Data Suite back in October of 2023. This is when I actually started tracking. So GA4 says out of 2,700 sales, 1,400 came from paid. And then we got 500 in direct, 212 in organic, 10 in organic social, 60 unassigned, 175 referral, 162 in shopping, 28 in cross network, 27 in paid search, and 2 in paid social. Pretty cool when I've only spent all my money on shopping campaigns. Says that same
man.
time period. But then Wicked
Yeah.
comes in and says, yes, here's your Google ads. Here's all of your revenue given directly to the proper channel. There was nothing else that came in except for a little bit in other $4,600, which we did find was actually organic. But that's what's so funny is GA4 is just like, I don't know. Yes, here's everything that worked. That means that I got 14 out of 2,700. Basically, I got 50% of the credit from the original source. 50%. Again, it goes to our fun little analogy. Your kid comes home from school with all C's. They could be all F's or they could be all A's. Are you happy? No, they're 50% off.
Yeah. That's pretty much what you just got. You just got a report card from GA4 that says, yeah, you got a C average, but you have no idea what you did on each individual class. Just like you have no idea what you did on each individual channel. It's the same thing. I mean, there's always going to be some direct, right? Yeah. Like in that particular case, in Wicked reports, like there is unknown.
Of course, there's always going to be.
There's always going to be something.
Yeah,
I mean, it's never going to be 100% accurate. Never, ever. But the point is you can reduce it. Like in one particular case with one customer, we reduced their unattributed unknowns by 90%.
Yeah,
from 140,000 down to 14,000. Like you're still going to get some, but it's like that 90%. That was almost half of their traffic.
Yeah, it just gets egregious. Like because this is businesses, this is people's livelihoods, this is their dream, this is their baby, this is their bank account. Yeah. And I don't know, I don't, and pardon my French, I have no fucking idea how people wake up one day, look at their savings account, and then the bank's like, hey, this could be 50% off. They're like, oh, good enough. I'm like, oh my God.
Look at like 50% of your bank account in there. Like, I don't really know how much you have in savings. It might be 50K, it might be 75K. Don't really know.
Yeah. Would you like your statement? It's only half right. Keep it.
That's pretty much what the platforms do. That's what GA4 does. And by the way, we might as well bash the competition here.
Oops.
Hyros and Triple Whale do the same damn thing. So there you go. Anyway, let's get over to some questions here. Yes.
So I have to show this. Mitch is first, the beardpreneur. I'm a very immaculate beard. It's like got a perfect square shape. It's cool.
He's got a damn good beard. Like
he does.
Mitch, one of the best beards in the business. So,
all right.
Jose V.
Boogie.
All right. Question from Jose V. For a Google shopping campaign on a TROAS bid strategy, does it enter a learning phase after a significant increase in budget from $5 to $100 a day?
So yes. And what you'll find, it may not even say learning, but when you have a drastic increase in ad spend, what you will see is a drastic increase in your CPC. Now, if you're using a low TROAS, that's especially going to happen. You do want that though. You want your first click to be, very aware and very prominent. When you're having your first impression, someone searching for something, they look up and they see you first, or they look and they see you first on the search results on their phone. Being first considered is worth it. So there will be a learning. What that learning will be is that your CPC is going to go up, your spend is going to go up. That's pretty much the only thing that's going to happen. You might get some better search terms that you couldn't enter those ecosystems, those auctions before, because you weren't spending enough CPC because your ad spend was so low. But you'll see better search terms and higher CPC and higher ranking. And then what it's going to try to do is lower that CPC down a bit to see if it can still get as many conversions as possible with a higher ROAS and a lower CPA.
Makes sense. Thank you, Jose V. Stuart Little, digital platforms to market cigarettes in Canada. Any tips on how to avoid policy issues? Wow.
Yeah, call them nicotine free. I'm just kidding.
Call them cancer sticks.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so the thing that we found in Canada with alcohol and tobacco is you have to exclude everybody from 18 to 24, unfortunately. So Google has a rule where it's like anything basically restricted to 21-year-old or less, or could be restricted to 21-year-old or less, you have to just exclude the 18 and 24. That works most of the time. It's actually worked where I've excluded it. I got suspended. I appealed by saying, look what I did. And then they reinstated it. So that would be the first thing that I would say really to do.
Very cool. All right. Really good question here. Job 2 Freedom. Hey, appreciate you guys. So with this L1, L2, L3 meta strategy, could you use the exact same strategy, but just with YouTube ads?
Yeah. So the L1, 2, and 3 kind of has pushed off into now feeder strategy, which is actually more of like L0, which is what we're kind of calling it a little bit, which is like the traffic campaign. And then you have an L1, which is your prospecting campaign, and then an L3. So it's a little bit different, but about the same. Yes, you can with YouTube ads. Here's the bad part though, is only one of your campaigns really has to be conversion based. So your L1 is going to be like a CPM or CPV based. And then L2 is going to be re-engaging those on a CPM or CPV basis as well. The L3 is going to be a remarketing campaign to everybody that's visited those pages and seen those videos as ads. And that's going to be a conversion campaign. So you can use the same exact strategy on YouTube ads, but your bidding strategies have to be different. Otherwise, if you do three YouTube campaigns that are all using a conversion-based bidding, whatever has ad spend that day will just scoop up those conversions. And it's like, it doesn't really funnel and doesn't work.
Do we have a case study for that?
We do in a different mastermind, actually. That I'm no longer a part of. So we're having some people shift over to another mastermind. So I should be able to reconnect with that person. But we had a person that I was working with that he is actually running that. And we were kind of going through updates on it.
Got it. Super good question though. All right. Nav Rashid, when optimizing ads in YouTube, you look at percentage served, correct? If there's any minimum benchmark for percentage served, like if you have 3 ads, 2 at 45%, 1 at 10%, that would turn one off, etc. Great
question. Excellent. So here's what you want to look at, because this actually is a big issue that people they miss a lot. In just I'm gonna do like 365 days until yesterday. Let me just get this all popped up here. As all right,
give a shout out for John Moran's disciple. Of course, these guys get preferential treatment. What were we looking for before? John Moran's voice box. Yeah, John Moran's kidney. Right. Set this off so we can see. Okay.
Right. Percentage served. So here's what's interesting is when you look at percentage served, you will have like the Pareto rule. You got 45, got 17, and then you have like 7, 3, all these things down to basically 0. So these are like the 2 ads that are really doing the majority of the conversions. Now, what you're also going to see is that sometimes the conversions or even the conversion rate is different than the top line. Right now, we can see 939 and 188. But it's 45 and 17. So this is actually looking like it's way better. 255, 347. This one goes way down to 757. Sure. Here's what you don't want to do though, is let's just say, for example, and I'm using the last year's worth of data. So this thing's been ran a lot and I try to beat it. That's why there's a large discrepancy here between them, because I pause other ads in between these things. But what you don't want to say is, okay, that one's bad. That one's good. That one has way more. That one has way less. What you want to look at is actually this over here. The views and the impressions, because YouTube actually builds a small sequence. So if you were to say, are these 20 million people and these 8 million people overlapping? Absolutely. How about the 3 million and 1 million? Not as much, because obviously the percentage served is way low. So these 2 are your main ads. And lo and behold, if you shut this ad off, that's going to start to go up. So it means if you shut off the ad that has lower impressions and lower quality, your first ad is actually going to perform worse with the cost per conversion that's starting to increase. Google does a YouTube sequencing. What they identify is Ralph needs to see that video, then that video. John needs to see that video twice, then that video. So they kind of see what videos need to be shown first and second, third, and fourth, even if it's the same video, in order for them to repeat that sequence when people buy. So they built a little mini funnel in sequencing, but if you come in and say, haha, I'm going to take half that away, it just falls over. You can't just remove one of the legs. So don't look at it as in just pure results. Look at it also by engagement and know that there's going to be overlap, but percentage served will keep the main ones that are overlapping each other well funded. They just may look a little bit different in conversions.
Okay. And the percentage served, once again, for the first and the second ad in that case were what versus the third and the fourth?
There were a large discrepancy between them. It was 45 and 17.
Okay.
And then 7.
7. Okay. Mm-hmm. So Google figured this out. How long did it take to sort of start to figure that sequencing out?
You mean how long does it take to optimize, or when did I learn it?
Yeah, no. Like when you start, like let's say you started, I have to assume you started probably 4 or 5 videos at the same time. Mm-hmm. Maybe.
Yeah, usually within a week, it'll pick 2 to 5.
It'll start to kind of figure it out. So it's like once you figure out that sequence that they automatically superimpose on your videos, it might take a couple of weeks, up for a few months.
Yep. Now check this out.
Okay.
365 days, 45 and 17. This would be something, let's kill it, because this is the main video. Now watch this. What happened last week with the same videos or the other videos? Now it's 41 and 28. It shows different videos.
Yeah. Interesting.
So I always just give it 15 videos and it'll just kind of pick and choose and recycle what it thinks is working, because I have years worth of data on all these videos. So I'm not going to pause them. I'll just let Google pick and decide which ones work well, because I'm not Google. I'll give them the tools as to which to succeed, but I won't tell it how to succeed.
That's awesome. I love it. Mateus, greetings from Brazil. Good to see you.
Hey.
John Moran. Hey. All right. Greetings from we're popular in Brazil. I like that.
Yeah, right.
John
Mr.
Moran's
Worldwide.
dog. That's right. If an e-commerce client has a limited budget and doesn't want to scale, would you recommend using a feeder strategy and a low T ROAS standard shopping in this scenario?
Well, it depends. Is there any sort of omni-channel, or is it just like Google Ads? If it's a limited budget and doesn't want to scale, I would actually honestly just run feed only PMAX. Honestly, only because that is also going to keep you the highest amount of positions available. And if you're omni-channel, you don't have the overlap of meta campaigns that are going to skew your results. It is pretty much singularly you. You will do all of your standard shopping and dynamic marketing all in one feed only PMAX campaign, and your CPCs and PMAX, even on standard shopping, are about half the price of an actual standard shopping campaign. So if you're only running one channel, just run a feed only PMAX. If you are running omni-channel, then that's a way longer conversation. Don't run PMAX. It would be more of like a low T ROAS, but then you got to figure out, if you're going to get only the first click, who's doing the remarketing, and now you got a whole omni-channel strategy you got to develop.
Got it. We are getting backed up with questions here.
I know.
A little bit
I
longer.
saw.
I'm like, oh my god! I didn't realize there were so many. So we're gonna try and rapid fire these as quickly as possible. Do you want to read them, or you want me to read them, or I'll read them aloud and
maybe
Mateus. Oh, whoops! We both clicked on Mateus.
All right, John. In your shopping strategy, use two main campaigns: a conversion catch-all and a traffic 30 best SKUs. For both share bestsellers of 60% T ROAS. Why same product T ROAS? Okay, so this one seems like it's more like the dog pile strategy, and that one is actually so that I don't limit the best-selling performance by choosing an arbitrary budget that's too low. And if it was have still gone through and made more sales, then my secondary catch-all would actually make more additional sales, which is my signal to then go increase my first campaign. So that dog pile feeds its way back up. It's like, hey, here's $1,000 and 200. Did I spend 1,000 and 200 on these products? Yes. Okay. Well, then here's 1,200 and 200. Did it still work? So this basically tells me how much I can scale in this one without missing sales, and with being the first one to say, hey, there's none left over for this campaign. You've reached stasis before I kill Mur.
Got it.
Next. Oh God, I'm gonna stop touching things.
You're so used to being the producer. Like when I'm on the runway. Like, yeah, I'm here today. I'm like not on an airplane. It's great.
I'm literally sitting on my hands right now, so I don't do it anymore.
All right, I'll click. You talk. How about that?
For a new Google account, is it worth using expanded inventory for the first 15 days and switching to standard, or would you use a standard inventory for the start? I always use standard inventory. I don't know why. I like the expanded inventory is cool, but I found that there's a little bit too much inconsistency with it unless it's remarketing. Remarketing, expanded inventory all the time. For non-brand, I like to use standard. If standard taps out, you can use the expanded inventory, but because it's usually shopping and more individual campaigns that I'm running on, I always just use standard.
Got it. This is new. John Moran's sandwich is here. were you eating when I was away? Was that part of it?
No, actually not. I don't remember. I'm a fat kid at heart, so I might have been. So who knows? I even have some soup right here.
John Moran's soup is going to be the next avatar. I think we answer questions to. All right, he's got a question.
Cool, John. What's more efficient for sales and acquisition? L1 to 3 on YouTube campaigns, or demand gen optimized to mimic YouTube campaigns? So I don't like demand gen yet. I think that their introduction of GSP was a massive failure because you still get charged a CPC when a person opens the Gmail ad and never actually makes it to your site. So if you're checking cold traffic campaigns, launching demand gen is just like, haha, you get clicks, but no traffic. Now what, sucker? And so it becomes a little bit of an issue. So I would say that L1 through 3 YouTube campaigns are still my go-to until I'm forced to use demand gen. And then when that happens, stay tuned, because we're working on a whole bunch of strategies in the lab right now that are basically mimicking what the L1, 2, and 3 is on YouTube by purposely limiting the demand gen assets inside of those to force them into the channels that we want it to go to.
Sounds good. Navrash has a
hey.
Hey.
So now that YouTube is moving to demand gen, is there anything we need to know for businesses who run purely cold in-stream YouTube? Yeah. So my opinion, wait for them to push it on you. Honestly, remember what happened when standard shopping turned into smart shopping? When smart shopping turned into PMAX, they developed feed only for you, which was the best thing, because when Google had shit inventory, it just tanks. So hopefully my go-to plan initially is just letting YouTube be pushed into demand gen and hope that they don't add in other assets, so I can keep those evergreen campaigns and then try to build off of it from there.
Bob Lee, PPC is a question.
John, how do you view priorities in shopping campaigns? So I actually don't use priorities. It's a very controversial thing. I actually like high priority all the time. I want maximize CPC, maximize placements, and maximize priority, because Google, remember, is now not based on necessarily keyword. They're based on, should I show an ad to Bob when Bob is ready to buy? I don't get to decide when Bob is ready to buy, so I don't know what priority to use. It's not based on search terms anymore. Google is now matching warm traffic inside their standard shopping non-brand campaigns to people who are ready most often to purchase at the time that Google thinks are going to be purchasing. I know we have limited time left, but this is a really, really, really important topic, because this is going to update everyone's pedigree information about the ads ecosystem and how they work. So for an example in Data Suite, this is what everyone has to really, 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 really understand, because most people
4 reallys, I believe.
This is the most really you'll ever really. Really. So,
Really?
So when you're looking at the non-brand standard shopping campaigns, or even non-brand search, all of these are all basically non-brand, except for like this branded one here, for example. This, just as a quick example, look at the cold traffic, 22, 28, 24, 19, 15, 26. We don't have a standard shopping campaign or a search campaign that has more than 40% cold traffic. What that means is that standard shopping is targeting warm traffic on purpose. That's how they predict their ROAS or CPA. So when you're looking at can we pull that question back up?
Yeah. That's the second part of it.
When you're using, and that's kind of thing, when you're using a priority, though, it's like, what step in the journey are they going to search? And you have to know that before that happens, so you can choose a priority of that person in that point of their journey. It's too much for me it's impossible to do. So if I keep it on high priority and then just, go old school strategies on negative keywords, seems to scale 10x way faster than priorities will.
Super interesting. Romina is here to just hear about Data Suite, so hopefully she's a satisfied customer here. Appreciate that. Yeah. John Moran's dog has a question.
Hey, what are the 3 most important metrics for e-commerce and running Google Ads and Meta, if you can choose only 3? NMR, LTV, and CAC. The new so NMR is all the money spent on all campaigns divided by the revenue from new customers. NCAC, all money spent on all campaigns divided by only amount of new customers, not the value, but the amount of customers. And then LTV, it allows you to just identify, if I were to spend X amount on getting a new customer, what will that make me over 3, 6, 9, 12 months, 2 years? Then you set those targets, boom.
That was not a plant question, by the way. John Moran's dog is not a paid sponsor of this show.
Thanks, Terry. I'll pay you later.
Yeah, thanks. Alan J. Is his name Terry, actually?
I don't know. I'm making shit up.
Alan J. Jr. has a question.
In Meta L0 strategy for top performing creatives, you duplicate them 10 to 15 times, increase budgets from pause non-performers. Do you just rename the campaign L0 to L1 and create L2 based on it? Not really. So the new L1 strategy is actually, when we're doing top performing creatives, we simply just kind of keep recloning them and then just updating the date. They don't actually move into a different strategy. They just get recloned when we're doing testing. So it's easier for us to manage when what did we try and what did we not, by simply just cloning the campaigns. So L0 never moves into L1 and L2. L1 and L2 are completely different strategies to build off of what L0 is bringing in.
Yeah. Another good question here from Ginger.
What's your favorite cold YouTube ad strategy? So I actually love sequencing. YouTube sequencing is the best thing since sliced bread, and no one really knows or uses it because everyone measures by ROAS. Yeah. So when you're looking at a sequencing campaign, those campaigns can be very, very, very lucrative, because you can actually find the point of diminishing returns from an audience who is no longer interested in hearing what you have to say, so that you can actually contribute to a more of a beneficial result. And what I mean by that is here. Let me pull this up. Let's see real quick.
Is that audience fatigue? Are you talking about?
There is no audience fatigue. Sorry, so there is no ad fatigue. Yes, it's purely trying to find audience fatigue. So I'm trying to update dates. Okay. And I forgot the dates that there were. Actually, I'll share screen. You'll kind of see this. This will be fun. Sure. All right, so let's do this one. So this is an ad sequence here. This ad sequence basically will tell me what the user journey is going to do. So I force you to 4 videos. If you watch this video, if you view it, you look at the second video. If you view that video, you move to the third. If you view that video, you go to the fourth. What happens if you skip the first video? Or let's say you watch the first video, watch the second, then skip the third. So I have skips where I have to push you through the funnel anyway, which is nice because you have to see all 4 ads no matter which way you go. this is what's cool. If you view this video and then skip number 2, I still send you to the number 2 or number 3 that after you skipped off of number 2. And then if I just impress you with that video, then you see number 4. So if you skip it, I still force you to watch it because my trigger is, did I impress you with it? Or are you impressed by that video? So the nice part about that is once that's done.
Impress is after the skip ad goes off, correct? Or no? Like how,
no, I'm going fast because I know we're limited in time. Yeah. But what this means is that if you watch this video, my step transition is a view. I can say transition to the next sequence off of a skip, a view, or an impression. So if you watch this, if you watch all 4, you're actually in a different area. If you skip 2, I can see this. I'll show you what I mean by the results, though, is I can see that if you see ad number 1, you have a 32% or 0.32 click-through rate. Watch this. Watch when you skipped 1 and watched 2, click-through rate went up. So I showed you an ad. You're like, I don't like you. I was like, all right, well, what about this one? You're like, oh, I like that one better.
Yeah,
but you'll see that after you watch ad number 1, or if you skip 1 and watch 2, or if you skip 1, watch 2 and watch 3, or if you skip 1, watch 2, watch 3, watch 4, or you just watch number 2. But the further we go down the sequence, you see the 0.3, 0.5, or 0.32, 0.35, 0.31, 0.32. Then it goes down into 0.29, 0.29, 0.31, 0.24, 0.25. After about 4 ads, I fatigued the audience. Good. But I'm still sending you through everything else. But this one here, I can tell a story on CPM with $10 CPMs. Again, I could give a shit about conversions. It's a TV commercial. There is no click-through rate, or there is no ROAS on a Super Bowl commercial. That's what we're doing here. We're telling a story. We're building a brand. So that's why I like those things for cold traffic.
Love it. Okay. All right. Quickly here. I know we're right up against it. Mateus has another question.
All right. I'm at how many days should we move creatives from L0 to L1? Again, those are different strategies. The the differences between L1, L0, L1, L2, L3, and even L4 win back, all are different audiences. They're all different. They're the same creative, different audiences. So what's nice is that you can move an L0 to an L1, but what you're doing is saying, I want to show the people that are getting feeder strategy as an example, those videos, and then I want to show it to them again. You don't have to. There's no SOP to move that. You just have to have a wide variety of decent creatives, because Meta's going to choose anyway which one works, because unless you're using ABO, which I wouldn't recommend in this type of ecosystem today. But you'll have your video creative or ad imagery that's working. And then as they go from L0, which is your brand new cold traffic, then L1 is going to try to convert them. So you got cold traffic that's warming up, then you have warm traffic trying to convert, and then L3 for remarketing. So it's not about really creative. It's about funneling the users through that path.
Makes sense. Deep, I guess.
Great name.
Question.
Hi, John. I've realized a pattern when I work on a new account which doesn't have conversion tracking right, has very low CPCs. And as soon as we fix it, increases. Why is that? Because Google is backfilling what they know you are willing to pay for those clicks based off of what goals you set. And I leverage that. You want a low T ROAS and you want a low, you want a high CPC and low T ROAS. Google's like, if I only need to make 10 cents of my money back, here's a $6 bid. I'm like, good. I want to be number 1 anyway. Like, that's the purpose of it. So as soon as it sees that conversions are coming in, Google's like, oh, we're going to want more conversions. What's your goal? 200%? Well, I'm getting 400% now. Shit, I got to charge you twice as much per click, and it'll back down to your 200% T ROAS goal. Your T ROAS goal is only applicable to how much you're willing to bid. When Google sees you getting conversions, they will charge you more. That's why we kill conversion tracking some accounts to keep our CPCs low at scale.
Yeah, makes sense.
I gotta do this. Let me launch into the other meeting that is going to start here right now. As soon as he pops in, then I will. I'll hop off here if that works. Sometimes he does or does not join. Let me just see.
Sounds good. I was just gonna cherry pick the rest of all these questions here.
All right, I'm in the other meeting. If I just say bye everybody, it means the other person joined. All right, let's go.
That means I will sign off for you.
Yeah, it's okay, everybody. Cool.
So somebody has a question.
Yeah, yes, it is. We confirmed that it is GDPR compliant. Now I am not an attorney, so consult your attorney accordingly. But from everything that we know, have been told and can see, yes, just don't sue me if I'm wrong. Everything we can find out right now is good. But again, we are not attorneys.
Yeah, we are not attorneys. That would be a very good avatar for YouTube, by the way. John Moran's attorney. God knows we spend enough money on that. Mike has a question.
Hey, John, can you break down the feeder strategy? What's the T ROAS for PMAX? Do you pick? And in the audience on PMAX, I've seen some people use standard shopping max clicks. Yes. So for feeder strategy, you want a standard shopping and you want a performance max. Feed only with overlapping products, 100% overlap. Or he's joining now. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna tell him to give me a minute. I'll finish this one. I'll be right back. Hold on.
Sounds good. All right, let's see. Mitch, appreciate you being here. Ramina, question here. I can remember feeder strategy and clients in my pod and sell yacht chargers. Yeah.
Sorry. Let me finish that one other one. So real quick. So the feeder strategy for standard shopping, performance max. Standard shopping, you want a low T ROAS, 40 to 60%. For your PMAX feed only, you want a high one, 250 to 500%. Just depending upon when it can spend. You want those two far apart. High T ROAS and performance max forces your PLAs into display and means your dynamic remarketing on YouTube, GSP, Discover, Display. You want that to be remarketing with your PLAs. Your standard shopping needs a low T ROAS to get a high bid to stick itself into the shopping network. So your T ROAS is forcing the dictation as to performance max. You don't go into shopping. Shopping, you get aggressive in shopping. So then you have basically a you have a aggressive direct response inbound and a smart remarketing campaign, those two combined. All right, now I got to go.
Unfortunately, we do not have time for all the other questions. Thank you so much, John Moran. We will see you all.
I'm so sorry, everybody.
I know there's like 30 questions we didn't even answer, but make sure you show up next week, 2:30 Friday, me and John, your next Tier 11 Live. Thanks, everybody, for showing up here today. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.